Hello and welcome to today's podcast episode about remaining a family even after separation and divorce. When a couple gets to know each other and starts a future together, in very few cases is a separation already planned or foreseen. On the contrary, the couple is devoted to each other in love and develops visions of what their time together will look like, and plans may be made for how this is to be realized. One or more children are conceived in love and expand the family, bringing new experiences and challenges. It may be that the family grows from the challenges and adapts the plans to the new situation. But it can also be that the couple's visions no longer fit together, that with the challenges a family brings and also the changes in life go so far that the love for each other is no longer in the foreground and a life together is no longer possible. When it comes to separation, many things change for everyone in family and have to be reorganized. This is an incredibly challenging situation, especially for children. The child conceived in love is what I would like to focus on now. The first relationship and attachment person, the love relationship of every human being, thus of every child, are the parents. Every child is half father and half mother. It is essential for every child's development that it knows its parents, that it comes to terms with their respective characteristics and personalities, depending on its age. We know that when a child is born, there are relatives, acquaintances who look at the baby and say, "Quite the daddy, the nose like mommy, and the eyes like..." What is visible on the outside is also true for the character traits and personalities of the children. Every child has parts of both parents that are more or less pronounced. When parents separate, it often happens in a fight and with little goodwill. For parents, separation also means that a love relationship is coming to an end and demands a lot from them, and the emotions are stressful. In order to relieve themselves, there is a lot of conversation and usually not a very positive one about the ex-partner. Under certain circumstances, it can also happen that the other person is not talked about positively in front of the child. However, very few people are aware of what happens. The child is mom and dad. If I badmouth about the other parent, I automatically devalue a part of the child. Even if it is not conscious at the moment, a rejection of one's own part is happening inside. In the process, an inner conflict happens in the children, also with regard to the original love relationship with both parents. If one parent speaks badly about the other, the child also feels the pain, the sadness, or the strain and tension of the one who speaks it. This in turn awakens the need to comfort the dad or mom he loves so endlessly, or to do everything possible to make him feel better again. Or not to lose this parent either. In this way, children show solidarity with this parent. They do this by also scolding the other parent, or they tell about events that they felt very stupid. They may also adapt the stories, omitting details. It can also be that children try to avoid this grief of the parent by not talking about the other at all. Then there is contact with the other parent, and at the same thing may happen there again. The children has to experience that a certain part of him or her is not accepted, that he or she has to comfort this parent, that he or she has to do everything to maintain the love relationship. This feat of strength is called a conflict of loyalties. Such situations are insane performance for children, which can be coped with for a while, but it is not bearable in the long run. The consequences can be abnormal behavior, physical symptoms, or illnesses. But also they completely reject one parent and refuse contact in order to protect themselves from these situations. This, however, contradicts the inner need of all children, the relationship with both parents. For example, a mother tells the father that contact is very bad for the child because it cries when he picks it up, which is a sign for her that the contact cannot be good. The father, on the other hand, reports that as soon as the child is in the car and has driven off, the tears are immediately forgotten. On the other hand, he also experiences that the child cries when he brings it back and perhaps interprets that the child does not want to go back to the mother. But this is only an expression of how difficult and hardly bearable the tension of the parents' meeting is for the child. Depending on their age, children react differently to these situations. While younger children tend to clinch or hide, school children sometimes try to mediate between the parents. Or they take over the opinion of one parent and demand explanations from the other for events that the child has not experienced themselves. Children may also try to take advantage of the situation and play the parents off against each other. The following applies to all age groups. It is important to perceive the children's emotions, to take them seriously, and to give them space. For the parents concerned, it is important to recognize that the children also experience a loss, that separation also means a serious change for them, and that this change causes reactions in them. The children need both parents, and that the children can only live their relationship with both parents if the parents accept that the parent-child relationship is different from their couple relationship, and that carefree contact with the other parent can only take place if this is also emotionally supported and endorsed. In the best case, parents manage that they explain that they are separating together, that they also express their grief together, that they explain that they will continue to do their very best together as parents, and that as parents they will try to make the best decisions for the child, and that it is okay for the child to continue to love both of them. There are also support options so that parents and children are not left alone and can be accompanied in this difficult situation. For example, there are rainbow groups for children or counseling in child protection centers. After a separation, it is not only a matter of emotions, but also of formal matters, such as contract rights or custody. For children, legal matters are of secondary importance. It is of little importance for the children's everyday life whether the father is entrusted with custody or not. Nevertheless, I would like to mention it here because it is relevant insofar as custody and contact rights have an effect on the behavior of the parents and thus also on the children. There is no legal regulation of the frequency of contact. In the best case, this should be regulated by mutual agreement between the parents. Under no circumstances should it be the child's decision how often and for how long he or she should be with the other parent. This is an impossible task for the child and again intensifies the conflict of loyalties. The wishes and needs of the children should be taken into account, but the message must be that decisions are made by the parents ideally together. Which form of contact is best for the children is different for each family. The classic form is that there is a so-called main care, where the child mainly lives and there is a right of contact to the other parent who does not live there. The extent how long and how often the child is there cannot be answered in general terms. In any case, for smaller children up to school age, there should be more frequent contact, at least once a week. The older the children are, the more the everyday needs, like friendship relationships or extracurricular activities, have to be taken into account. They should not be massively restricted due to the right of contact. Another form is the alternating model or double residence model. This means that the child spends at least 30% and up to 50% of its time with one parent. This means that the child has two places of residence. It also means that the parents have to exchange information more often, because both parents have to receive information from the school. For example, it should be clearly regulated who does which errand for the child. If no agreement is possible, the court can be instructed to do so. In the case of children from the age of 10, they must be heard by the judge. From the age of 14, the children themselves can apply to the court. Contact should under no circumstances take place in the household of the parent who is looking after the child. Due to the separation of the parents, there will always be tensions, which the children perceive and which are hardly bearable for them. In addition, they are put in the position of not being able to show their affection easily for reasons of loyalty. There might also be confusion for the child because he or she might not be able to relate why. For example, daddy is there again and then suddenly he's not. Another formal aspect is custody. Custody means the right and duty to care for and bring up the minor child, to manage its property and to represent it, and representing him or her in front of third parties. In principle, the parents are entitled to custody. The issues of custody affect the children only little in everyday life. It is mainly the parents' business. If parents already had custody of both parents in an ongoing relationship, this form remains in place after the separation. However, this does not mean that everything has to be decided and discussed with each other after the separation. There are only a few areas where both signatures are necessary, such as name change, change of religion, acquisition or renunciation of citizenship, transfer to care, termination of apprenticeship or training contract, paternity tests, and everything else is called decisions of daily life, doctor, hobby or clubs, choice of education, or change of residence within the country. These decisions can be made by the parent with whom the child receives primary care. Finally, once again, your child loves you as father, you as a mother, and you are the first loved persons in your child's life. Support him or her in continuing to experience you both as parents, in continuing to have two people at his disposal, according to whose differences he can develop his own concept. Thank you for listening. In this sense, all the best and goodbye.